Hey everyone, thought since I was getting so many requests for the cashew brittle with ghost pepper in it that I thought I'd put up a video of how to make it and show the process so everybody can do it without wasting money screwing it up. Or the recipe is one thing, it's seeing it done helps a lot. So I'm going to do that for you. I'll speed up the boring parts, don't worry. Let's get at it. Here's your ingredients. The ingredients you're going to need are 1 cup of light corn syrup, 4 tablespoons of butter, softened. Put it in the microwave and get it to where it's just soft but not melted. It's 4 tablespoons or half a stick. 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 2 cups of cashew halves and pieces, and 2 cups of sugar, and just white granulated sugar, and of course that. You're gonna need a bunch of ghost peppers or habaneros, or I wouldn't use jalapenos, there's too much water in them. Anything with a thin skin or powder I think will work just fine. I usually use about, for a wicked nasty batch of brittle, I'd use about a half a cup. So in other words, that thing full once it's chopped. And you definitely need to hand chop these and not put them in the food processor, because they'll get all mushy, and it'll work if you're lazy, but I don't know how it's going to cook once you get it in the sugar, if all that liquid in there is going to mess it up. So I hand chop them. Takes a while, it's very kind of tedious. You usually get it all over you even if you use gloves, but so I don't even bother with gloves. You're just going to get it on you anyhow. Cut the glove and just keep on going until it's super fine, seeds and all. One last thing you're going to need is a half of a cup of water. I'll do that right now so I don't forget. It doesn't have to be measured perfectly, any of this stuff, especially the sugar and the corn syrup and the water. As long as it's close, it isn't going to screw it up or anything. And let's see, I guess I'll mount this camera and start chopping and get this stuff boiling. Be back in a second. Okay, I want to go over with you a couple things also you're going to need to do this. You're going to need some kind of a Tupperware or something that can go in the microwave, and you're going to warm these cashews up later on in the microwave, just to get them up to temperature so the sugar doesn't cool down too much when you put them in, because it's really hard to stir if you do it the other way. You're going to need a candy thermometer, preferably one that does not let the thermometer touch the bottom. See how that little lip is there? It keeps it a good 1/4 inch or more off the bottom, so you can just stick it in and not worry about taking the temperature of the coil instead of the temperature of the sugar, because this is kind of a pain in the butt. This is probably the biggest pain in the butt part of it, is dealing with this thermometer, trying to hold it and stir and not let the pan move, and it's real thick, and you'll see. But this is about the best kind. They're not expensive, from 14 to 19 bucks, and they last for a long time, as long as you don't break that little glass thing. So you'll need that, a good candy thermometer, a nice wooden spoon, and you're going to need a skillet. I use an egg skillet just to warm the peppers, so to get those up to temp before you throw them in. It kind of helps the process go a little quicker. And you're going to need 1 Teflon cookie sheet. You don't have to grease it, it won't stick. Okay, let's get at it. I'm going to put this on the stove. Oh wait, I have to add the corn syrup. It's half a bottle is a cup, so that's about, maybe a little more, half a bottle. And I think that's it. That's all it has to go. I usually put a pinch of salt in there too, towards the end, just towards once it gets mixed. So we'll get that on the stove, turn it on high. While that's cooking, I'm going to chop these peppers. You can pretty much just let that boil. It isn't going to burn, but you go over and at least stir it around and keep it off the sides from crystallizing on the sides, and just keep it moving. But it'll boil for about 5 minutes before you need to really start paying attention to it. So that gives you just enough time to get these chopped. So let's start. I'll try not to make too much noise with my knife here. It's kind of tedious, but you gotta start somewhere. Just get it all sliced and then go back and carefully slice it and keep on going over and over, and it'll get small after a while. and try to avoid the fumes because it's like gas fumes coming off this. And a good trick to get this stuff off your hands, anybody who's gotten it on knows you can wash your hands 100 times and it doesn't come off. If you have contacts and touch your eye, it's like sticking acid in your eyeball. What you do is wash your hands with lemon juice and then wash your hands again with soap, and it pretty much takes most of it off. Still isn't great on the eye if you touch inside your eye, but it's nothing like if you don't use it. I wash my hands probably 60 to 80 times a day with antibacterial soap at work, and it does not take it off. I'll come home and it'll still be on there if I touched it. So as much as I handle this stuff, I don't even care anymore. I just make sure I don't stick my finger in my eye too often. Still happens, but gets you for a minute or so and then back to work. So just keep chopping. Keep chopping, chopping. Once you get smaller, you can start going faster with the shoe. That's a lot. That looks like more than I've ever put in before. Now that I get it chopped up. I do it on this little board because, see this? My wife will freak out when she sees this on this big board, because she'll come by and you can't get it off the board either, of course. The oils go into the wood and it's there for months. She'll come by and put her watermelon on there and slice it up, and she's got blazing hot watermelon, which she doesn't appreciate, and it is seriously hot. Just keep it going until it's small, so you don't see any big chunks. Pretty soon it'll be minced. It's getting pretty close right there. God, the fumes are unbelievable. That's pretty good. A couple chunks in there, but not too much. Then take all that and you're going to put it into your skillet for later. And get rid of that. Get all this off my wife's board. See what I'm talking about? No matter how careful I am, stuff is everywhere. She'll pay for that later. She'll cut her watermelon or whatever and be screaming the blues. Okay, that's that. Now I guess I'm going to set up the camera over here and get stirring and kind of keep an eye on that. It looks like it's just starting to boil, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. We're boiling this up here. It's been boiling for exactly 5 minutes on high. I've just been stirring it a little bit here and there. I have my peppers down here on the other side, just being ready to be warmed up. I don't have them on yet, because when you do turn those on about 2 minutes in, it's going to be like pepper gas in your kitchen. It's the same way when you put them into that sugar. It's so hot, this sugar will be 260 degrees when you put it in there. It will it'll fumigate you. I'll probably be choking the whole time. Hopefully not. I usually turn on this fan up here, but it's too loud, you won't be able to hear anything. So we're going to go without it. That should be interesting. You'll be able to tell when this is getting close enough to start temping, and looking at it, it'll start changing color. Right now it's going from, I don't know how well you can see that in there, the color, but it's pretty clear still. It's just like clear soap or something it looks like. But it'll start turning amber colored here pretty soon. Not dark amber, but just slightly browning. And what you want to do is you want to temp it and get it to about 260 to 270 to start. And your final goal is about 305 to 315, no higher than that. I usually go 305. I turn the heat off and finish stirring it a couple times and folding it over. and then just don't heat it anymore and it won't burn, because it's really easy to burn those nuts if you go too high. And that's hardtack. It says it right on the thermometer. It'll say it somewhere on there. Or hard crack, I mean. Hard crack is at about 300 to 310, and that's the highest stage for sugar. If you try to eyeball it, which I have tried, I did it once and screwed an entire batch up. I couldn't even eat it. I threw the whole bag away. Actually, it was a double batch, twice this amount. And I just threw it right in the garbage because it would rip your teeth right out of your head, and it was super hard to chew, and if you did chew it, it just gripped your teeth like glue. So, wasn't worth it. Unfortunately, learned the hard way. Use a thermometer. Use a good wooden spoon so you don't scratch your nice Teflon pot, and plus it doesn't burn. You can't really, I love wooden spoons for this. And just keep letting it roll. As soon as you hit the nuts into that, we're going to turn it down to about medium high. Just a little bit below high, because it just seems a little easier to not scorch it. Alright, this is starting to just barely color now. It's not much, you probably can't see it on there, but it's just getting a little bit off white, off clear, almost like grayish, darker color. It's starting, it's getting thicker. You can see it getting much thicker than it was. It was almost like water when I first turned it on. In the first 5 minutes it's like foamy water. But even just letting it sit here, it's not going to burn, but keeping that stuff off the side will help keeping it from crystallizing on the side and getting crystals that don't dissolve, and then you get really hard crystals of sugar in there. Alright, I'm going to temp this and see where it's at. I bet it's probably about 240. And yes, of course, I now have pepper in my eye because I touched the damn things and I forgot about it for a second. My entire eye is on fire. It keeps it interesting. It is, I was a little off. It's 235 and rising quickly. Now it's 240. So as you can see, this thing's kind of a pain in the ass. When you get the nuts in there, it's even harder to get a true temp. You need to get a real good temp at the bottom. Alright, we're about 250 now. It's going up quick. You can see it's getting really thick now. So we're probably pretty close now. Almost 260 now. So we're getting there. What I'm going to do now is warm these nuts that I have in the microwave. Hopefully it doesn't drown me out. I'm going to put them in for 2 minutes and get them nice and hot. I'm going to turn this burner on to my left and warm these peppers up. See, all kind of going at once right when it hits 270, which it's at 260 right now. It wouldn't hurt it to put it in 260, 270, 275, but it's what's going to happen. As soon as you put it in, it's going to bring that temperature way back down again. You have to come all the way back up to 305 without burning those cashews. So the trick I have is to warm these up so they're really hot, so they're already close to that temperature and they don't drop the temp. Warm the peppers up. It also slows it down because the peppers have water in them, so it has to dissolve. That you have to cook that water off before the temperature will go up higher. So we're at 270 right now, so I'm going to pull that off for a second until these nuts get done. Let it kind of hold there. And he's got about a minute, so I'm just going to let it hang out. It's almost 275 now. Did I mention my eye was on fire? I'm quite the idiot sometimes, let me tell you. Alright, almost 280. If these nuts would hurry up and get done, I'd throw them in there. Got these peppers rocking over here on almost on medium high, just to get them warmed up. And these should be hot. Let me look. Yeah, they're hot. Minute and a half.